Welcome back to American Agenda. Even with states still counting votes, this election saw record-breaking voter turnout. That is just one of many ways this cycle has been one for the history books. Joining us now to talk about the historical implications is historian and author of the book Game of Thorns, Doug Wead. And we're joined also by presidential historian and Reagan biographer Craig Shirley. So, Doug, I'll start with you. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, Mark Twain said history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. So I've seen something similar. What strikes me is that Joe Biden is a lame duck president if he's finally confirmed as president, because he's not going to run again at 82 years of age. So the power is going to shift to Kamala Harris. In 1987, Reagan was lame duck. I was working for George H.W. Bush, and the Reagan people were coming to us saying, what does the vice president think about this or that? But ironically, Donald Trump is not a lame duck. He could run again like Grover Cleveland, who was the 22nd and the 24th president of the United States.
Yeah, I was telling my wife about that over the weekend. And another thing I was telling her, Craig Shirley, is about somebody that won 49 states back in 1984.
Yeah, I remember that too very, very well. I worked on that campaign, the 80 campaign. You know, it's interesting, Bob, is I remember on the 80 campaign is that you could feel the power just begin to swell around Reagan. There were people who for years had called him either governor, and some friends who even called him Ron. And all of a sudden, you know, as the votes mount up in 1980, as the Electoral College mounts up and his lead extends, is that people all of a sudden started, you know, there's more Secret Service around him. People started calling him Mr. President or Mr. President-elect. But you could feel the power starting to gather around a man. And I'm sure that Donald Trump felt that too 4 years ago, and maybe Biden is feeling it somewhat now, but I would say in kind of spits and spurts until this election is really settled. He's feeling it from the media, but he's not feeling it right now from the American people or the Electoral College, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Craig, I remember, didn't the President Reagan always wear a jacket in the Oval Office?
Yes, he did. Now, there were times on Saturdays when he was heading toward the ranch, and he would go in and he'd be in a nice lumberjack shirt or something just to quickly record his radio commentaries. But when he was in the Oval Office, pretty much all the time, he was in a jacket. He was always in a tie. He never put his feet up on the furniture like Obama did. He treated the office with the utmost grace and dignity because he realized that there were great men that had occupied that office before him, and there would be great men and women who would occupy that office after him, and it was something to be treated with reverence and respect.
Yeah, Doug, let me ask you about the divisiveness that we have right here. Can you compare it to another era, and does it get better?
Well, in 1968, there were 140 cities in America with neighborhoods that burned to the ground. There were tanks on the street in Washington, D.C. I have old home movies showing them. The Federalists and the Democratic Republicans, the Democratic Party of today, actually celebrated the 4th of July at separate events. They didn't even have the same event. You had to go to one or the other. So it's been pretty bitter from the beginning, but nothing quite like this. And I want to hit again on that lame duck. Donald Trump, there's never been a president in history where people chanted, "We love you." There's never been a president who's really pulled off peace in the Middle East. So if Nikki Haley's going to run for president or Ted Cruz, they're going to have to face the fact that Donald Trump is not out of the game. If he wants to play golf the rest of his life, he can do that. If he wants to come back legally, he can do that.
Yeah, and at least that people need to realize there are a lot of voters, 71 million of them, that they're going to have to make sure on their side, right?
My friends are calling me all the time and writing me and saying, "You've disappeared from television. We can't find you. We don't see you anymore." This is the only way we've figured out how to beat the censors. If you subscribe to this channel, hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell, you'll get notification when I'm on TV. Otherwise, you won't get my Instagrams, my messages on Facebook. It's censorship. So I want to hear from you. I want you to be able to hear from me.